I was thinking of you because while you have given me the gift of Arch Linux,
yes,
which I love because it's free like beer, right? I get it. I can just use it. It's also free like speech, to quote RMS. Now, I don't use the free like speech part because I'm not actually changing the software. I'm just consuming it free like beer.
But you could.
Yeah, but you've neglected to also point out that it's really free like a puppy.
Is that right?
Because it just keeps needing more and more work. It's really great. I've got Arch, but like it's peeing on the floor and I got to go mop it up and I got to buy it food and
like in what way? Like software updates?
Yeah,
you should do that with no matter what system you're on. You're always
upside down. Of course,
yes,
of course. Again,
on every system, you should have these same security flaws.
This as I'm complaining. I'm very happy.
If you don't have these problems on any other system, your other systems are insecure. You should have this on every system.
I understand. I'm just saying that the great RMS, Richard Stallman, said free like beer and free like speech, neglected the free like a puppy part.
He left it to mention free like a puppy.
He neglected that part, which I think is important to realize.
Quietly.
That really software, open source software especially, is very puppy-esque.
In 4.
That's all. It's just more of a PSA for folks.
3.
So that's all I'm trying to get at.
2.
The Apple Company presents a truly terrible podcast. Welcome to Nonsense Season 4, Episode 20. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm CJ Little.
This is our take on the week's business, tech, and entertainment headlines. This time, algorithm on trial, the verdict that turns social media features into legal liabilities.
Oh, not so sad now, are you, Winklevoss twins?
The House of Cards, how hackers turned AI tools into digital spies.
All your bases belong to us.
FCC pulls the plug. New foreign-made routers banned in the USA.
That's a lot of words to just say all routers have been banned in the U.S.
There are no consumer routers now that are made in the U.S., are there?
No, there's no farm-to-network program where somebody whittles them away in their backyard and then brings them to a local farmer's market.
There's no Etsy place you can go where you can get homemade routers?
Wait, I'm sorry, are the routers in between the strawberries and the peaches? Where do I go to find the homemade routers? No, it's not a thing, people. It's not a thing.
Also, our big story later this week is about aliens. It's always aliens. Amaze, amaze, amaze. Together we save 2 worlds.
Are we just like the Alien Show now? Is that our new thing?
It's the 3rd time that we've talked about aliens in 3 weeks, so maybe we are.
Yes.
It's National Farm Workers Day. Sun-scorched skin and calloused hands feed a nation that often forgets to say thank you. Today, we honor the quiet resilience of farm workers, the backbone of our food system. Their labor is the bridge between soil and soul. Dignity, fair pay, and gratitude are the very least they've earned.
I love the idea of farming, but I don't want to farm.
No, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I pay enough for what I buy. And a lot of machinery, too, which I'm also a big fan of.
Have you seen the carrot video? There was just a carrot video last week.
Oh, yeah.
Of how they make baby carrots.
Oh, no.
This was the greatest thing on the internet.
Was that on onlycarrots.com? Where'd you see that?
Oh, pretty much. It's so cool.
Wait, it's how they make baby carrots?
Yes. Baby carrots are not actually small carrots grown on the ground. They're regular carrots. They just get reshaped and reformed and all that. But the actual, I'm gonna put a link.
I see.
I'm going to put a link in the show notes. This is so good.
Wait, they whittle down regular carrots into quote baby carrots?
You have to see this video.
It's not like a baby. It's more like a...
It's just a creation
it's a full-size carrot.
Of humans who made this thing very easy to eat, and it's all clean, and the sides are all
but it's an adult carrot masquerading as a child.
It's an adult carrot masquerading as a child.
That just seems weird to me, doesn't it?
It's delicious.
Okay.
I have no problem with it.
Oh, hey, give me some of those veal carrots. I heard those are really good. They should rename it to that. Sales plummet.
You will like this video. I'm just put a link in the show notes.
Sweetie, anything from the store? Yeah, some of that veal spinach would be great. The one that they kill early before it becomes mature. I like it when it's really soft and tender.
I don't mean to interrupt this discussion on food. How's your week going?
You were part of the discussion. My week was going fine, but now I feel like I need to go sit in the middle of a farm and do a lot of soul searching.
Some reading anyway.
The second week of our spring break, my children's spring break, which means that I am preparing for a week of camping up in the Sequoia. So I'm very excited about that.
That's fun.
I have cleaned all of the things. I have done some of the packing.
What have you been doing when you were gone last week?
Last week we didn't camp. We instead did a trip to the least happy place on earth, also known as Legoland, California.
I love Legoland.
And then we went and saw the Savannah Bananas.
Oh, yeah.
Which was also fun.
Absolutely.
But I love the Savannah Bananas. I love the concept. They have the audio there set to 12.
Oh, yeah.
It is so damn loud. I had earplugs in the whole time and it was still too loud for me. And I'm like, am I just old or is it really loud? I think the answer really is both.
Yeah.
But man, was it like dysregulatingly loud. And we were in the outfield. I mean, it wasn't even like we were close, but very cool to see. So he's got to spend some time with the kids and have some fun. We're going camping, which is going to be a blast. And then I, over the weekend, enjoyed a day of our first beach day of the year, which is just a day of nothingness. Just go to the beach.
Love it.
Sit in the sand. The kids play in the water. We saw some dolphins, as we do in California.
All the time.
And it was lovely. It was great. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, I don't pay enough taxes for all of this. Like, this is all so great.
Oh, it's spectacular. California just has the most lovely beaches.
I wish gas was a little more expensive. I'm only paying $7.50 for diesel today when I go fill up my truck to go camping. I really wish it was more like $12. I feel like that would be the right thing to pay for all of this.
Well, it will be soon.
Exactly. Just I still have the return trip to come back. So the last time I took it up and gas was over $7 a gallon and I had to get diesel, and the poor kid at the counter in Porterville, California, I told him I needed $400 on pump 4. He looked at me like I had 3 heads.
Of course he did.
Dude, it's a 44-gallon tank. Like, what do you want from me? It's going to be over $300. Like, that's what happens.
Yeah.
I'm excited to go have some fun with my kids.
That's awesome.
That's my plan. How about you?
MLB's opening weekend brought the arrival of the automated ball strike challenge system.
Ooh, exciting.
It is exciting. CB Buckner had 6 calls overturned in a single game.
What?
One pitch he called as a strike missed the zone by 2.7 inches. Umps be human, turns out.
Sure.
And a Kansas City Royal game catcher Salvador Perez successfully challenged multiple calls from ump Doug Eddings at the bottom of the strike zone, leading to visible frustration from the veteran umpire.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a link in the show notes of this. It is great fun.
Okay.
He schools the ump as to where the bottom of the strike zone is.
Wait, hold on. For those of us that aren't glued to a opening day of MLB, how does this work? So anybody can call a challenge?
No. The pitcher, the catcher, and the batter can call it. You can be wrong twice.
And then what happens after you're wrong twice?
You don't get any more challenges. You're done. As long as you're not wrong, you can go as long as you want.
For the whole game?
Well, no. Until extra innings. At extra innings, you get another challenge.
One per inning?
One per extra inning, yes.
So you get better odds then in the extra innings.
Much better, yeah.
1 per inning. 2 wrong for the whole game.
2 wrong for the whole game. If you don't get them wrong, you go a long time. And some of these things went on quite a bit.
Interesting.
Mitch Trezak was behind the plate for a historic moment in a Red Sox Pirates game where the ABS system overturned 5 consecutive calls.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So was the umps, did his glasses fall off? What happened? Why was he?
I don't know.
Have all these fans been right for so many? Get some glasses, ref!
Right. How bad are you at your job? Finally, on the 6th challenge, which he got right, the crowd gave him a Bronx cheer.
In unrelated news, ump Mitch Trezak has retired.
Yeah, some of these guys might want to retire. I think it's really hard for a young person to call those things accurately with great vision. Imagine as you get older.
Sure.
I mean, theoretically, more experience should kick in, but I think vision really, really matters. It's completely remarkable how the ABS system does not slow down the game. The average challenge time is 12 to 14 seconds, and over half of the challenges have been successful.
That's impressive. I mean, this might be the best use for these crappy Tesla humanoid robots. You just put them in the ump position, and all they do is regurgitate whatever the ABS system figured out.
In the minor league, they had a time when they did that. By the way, I prefer those humans overseeing the computer.
Sure.
So that the umps are getting the calls first, and then if the umps want to override, the umps can override.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Not the way it is now, which is the computer is correcting the ump. I think that's a little strange. And in the minor leagues, when they tried it that way, where they actually got a little earpiece, the computer would tell them it's a ball, it's a strike, whatever it would tell them, and then the ump would actually make the call of their choice.
Sure.
In every case, they stayed with the computer.
Sure.
The calls not only were 100% accurate, there were no delays at all during the game.
Yeah.
Not even a 12-second or 14-second delay.
Wow.
That's a better system.
I'm not a fan that they're calling it ABS. Such a popular acronym. Could we call it something different?
Plastic.
Plasticky, or the brake system on cars, anti-lock braking system.
Yeah.
I feel like they should just call it the BS system. I feel like that would be better. That would be more aligned with what it is.
Just call it the correct system because, the call's enough. I got one more thing before I get off my week. There's been a thing that has been going around for the past, it's more than the past week.
COVID?
But I'm finally at the point where I want to talk about it, which is plug-in solar. Have you seen anything called plug-in solar? Are you familiar with this phrase?
Plug-in solar. These are, I'm guessing they're like solar cells that you plug in.
They're solar panels, and you don't have to have a permit or anything else. You just literally plug them into your wall, and it starts supplying electricity to your house.
Land of the free. I don't need a permit for my solar. Come on.
It's not even legal in California yet. Although there is a California SB 868, which will classify systems under 1,200 watts as appliances rather than power plants. So you don't need any interconnection agreements. You don't have don't get utility fees. You get good protections for renters who want to use the system.
Sure.
Pretty cool. It doesn't backfeed the system in case there's an outage. The plug's prongs go dead the instant you pull them out of the wall, but it contributes to the amount of electricity that you
That's cool.
pull out of the air off the sun.
There is a reason that we have the plug and receptacle system, because the thing that provides power is not supposed to be exposed, which is the receptacle side.
Yeah.
So when you start providing power on a plug, I do get a little nervous.
You unplug it and it drops dead.
Yeah.
It's really
that's
nicely
the magic.
engineered. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure these work great.
Don't touch the prongs.
It's not like a 9-volt battery. You don't lick it to see if it's on.
Exactly. Anyway, pretty cool. That's going to be a fun thing to watch. Can't wait to see if California's SB 868 passes and we can actually use these things in California.
More solar. I'm a fan. That's what I'll be using this next week, is a lot of solar to keep our stuff charged.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Let's get to our headline, shall we?
Let's do it. Yeah, for sure.
The dopamine defeat. How a California jury pierced Section 230 immunity. The invincible armor of big tech just cracked. In a landmark decision this month, the Los Angeles jury found Meta and YouTube liable for the negligent design of their platforms, awarding $3 million to a young woman who claimed their features fueled a destructive childhood addiction. This wasn't about bad content. It was about the mechanics of the hook. The plaintiff targeted specific features, infinite scroll, autoplay, and push notifications, ruling the companies knowingly engineered dopamine loops that prioritized engagement over minor safety. With Meta assigned 70% of the blame, the verdict bypasses the traditional Section 230 protections by focusing on product liability rather than speech. As the first of over 1,600 bellwether cases, this loss signals a massive legal shift. The algorithm is now a target.
I mean, if we're going to focus on awarding money to people who had destructive childhood addictions,
yes,
holy crap, like whoever owns that Barney IP better sell it as soon as they can. I don't know what's coming for them. This is super interesting to me. It was also odd to me that this case was Meta and YouTube, two completely separate companies.
Why?
It just seemed odd to me.
YouTube argued we are not social media, and the jury said no. You've got infinite scroll. You've got these same things too. They were not targeting the content, which 230 would protect. They were targeting the actual design of the system, and YouTube has these same design things.
And I would say that YouTube is certainly social media in one hand and not in the other. It's just different. I don't think infinite scroll makes it social media. I don't care about the name.
No, but infinite scroll is what causes the dopamine hit.
Yes.
That's what they were.
Yeah.
That's what they were arguing.
I would say the push notifications, the infinite scroll, those are the things that are more problematic.
Yes.
The label of social media, who cares? That doesn't, it's just a label put on a thing. There is a decent amount of social content within YouTube, right? Not just the content itself, but comments and whatnot. So, but like, why are we splitting hairs over the name? The point is it created this sort of addictive loop, and I can totally buy that. That's a good product, right? A good product is one that keeps you coming.
Well, maybe not for minors.
The question is, how do you balance the safety of minors? And that is tricky. I take a view on this that is different and probably somewhat controversial amongst many folks. I think this is mainly on the parents.
Meta tried very hard to put it on the parents.
Yeah, I know. I understand.
In the case.
Maybe 15 years ago, you could say that this wasn't as well known, but now parents of young kids, now, how can you not know that these things are terrible for your kids?
I agree. Do not let your kids on social media. That's a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah.
However, there is a certain culpability that does belong to these companies.
I mean, they have very slowly brought up some modicum of safety controls for minors. I still think it is ridiculous that they don't put an automatic stamp on your account when they can determine that you are underage. There is no doubt in my mind that with the profiling they can do, they know with a very high degree of confidence what your age is without you telling
Mark Zuckerberg testified himself, and he said, it's very hard for us to know if these are kids under 13. It's very hard for Instagram to know if these kids are, what age they are and all that. And then he also said, he talked about the tweens as a valuable untapped audience.
They are a valuable untapped audience. I totally appreciate that. I don't believe him, but you could say both of those things. I don't think there's a flaw in the logic there. When I hear them say that, what I actually hear them say is, we can't tell with certainty. And I believe that to be true. I believe you can't tell with 100% certainty.
Yeah.
But such is life. I think you can tell in the 98th percentile. And by the way, the override should be pretty easy. If they accidentally flag my account as being underage, then you go, well, okay, I'm going to upload a copy of my ID or some picture of the thing, and away you go. And if I don't do that, then I just stay in wherever they've banished me. And that's probably the best balance. I don't really want to give them my ID, but I think that is a reasonable trade-off for keeping kids safe. And if I never get grouped into the 13-year-old bucket because their algorithm is good enough, I never have to show my ID. That seems reasonable to me. Something like that. that.
Right.
But we haven't done that.
Instagram has deliberately engineered a system to impact body image and social comparison.
Ooh, I don't know about this.
That was part of this discussion. The things that you were fed were to affect your view of your body and affect your view of your social standing. It was intentionally feeding you things that would incite a reaction in you. They had internal company documents that showed they were trying to deliberately engineer body image and social comparison videos in the algorithm. That was brought up in the case.
Like, I wonder what that meant in practice.
There's a great line in some internal communications at Meta where one of the employees says, "Oh my gosh, y'all, IG is a drug." To which another responded, "We're basically pushers."
Yeah.
That doesn't look so good when that goes in front of a jury.
There are plenty of successful products that have said this that haven't been interpreted as drugs. But when you get it really right and when you get it really good, this is what happens. I don't fault them. I think that is the definition of a good product. I think the Gates' Microsoft doing deals with the original equipment manufacturers to provide Windows at a discounted rate was a good deal, right? That was good for everybody. Everybody won there until you get a certain size and you go, well, now maybe it's a little bit of a monopoly. Maybe now it's problematic.
This might be more than just size. This may be actually things that can affect the mental health of tweens.
For sure.
That's a problem.
Oh, for sure. This is not, I'm
Now it's like putting tar in cigarettes. Yes, we know it's addicting. Yes, we know it draws you back to the cigarette.
Sure.
But it is causing harm.
Well, I was merely trying to, I was not trying to equate the two in terms of damage, more of the rules change for you at some point, right? When you're the underdog,
Yeah.
you doing the deal with OEs to make sure your stuff is included, that's a good deal, right? That's a good deal for you and for the consumer. They're getting a better price. But at some point when you're 85 or 95% market share, that's no longer a good deal for the masses. That's just a good deal for you.
Yeah.
I would think here, what I'm trying to say is showing people content that they want to see is good. That's probably what you want. It makes the product sticky. It makes it
Provided
compelling.
that content isn't harming them.
Well, that's the thing. How do you know? If people respond to harmful content and all you're doing is looking at the signal of what they respond to, you're going to show them more of it. So on a very naive algorithm, sure, that makes sense. But at some point, you've done so much of this, much like in the monopoly case with Microsoft, you go, oh, you have a higher standard now you have to meet. And whatever that is, right? Filtering out content that is harmful, even if it's what people want to see, especially for kids. And I feel like that's really where it appears that Meta kept their head in the sand for years, if not like a decade over this.
I don't think their head was in the sand. I think they knew what they were doing.
I'm not saying they didn't know what they were doing. I'm saying they kept their head in the sand on a solution. They didn't provide a solution for this.
Right, because it was beneficial to them to not provide a solution.
Of course. Now, it appears they have provided a solution. I've seen a lot of advertisement around their current kid and teen product, but that's only been over the past year or two. And I think what this case exemplifies is that the damage has already been done. Mm-hmm. I have no idea what this future is going to look like. Are we really going to litigate this same case 2,000 times in court?
Yes, we are.
I don't know. I
stand by. This is a bellwether ruling. This opens the door. And the approach of this, because it's not coming after 230 content, was really novel.
Yeah, of course. You're going to have product liability.
The fact that they were coming after the dopamine loop was so different.
But just purely from an efficiency perspective, it does not seem sensical to bog down our legal system with 2,000 of the same case, right? That's why we have class action lawsuits. I'm not saying that's the way that it should go, but it seems really non-efficient and nonsensical to litigate the same case a couple thousand times.
It's really up to those who bring the suit.
Of course, but at some point when you're like...
They get their day in court.
I understand that, but it just seems not efficient, not good for our legal system.
Don't do the crime if you can't do the time.
I'm not saying there shouldn't be culpability and liability. That's not my point at all. But to just have like, here's case number 643 that has the same arguments.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of these. It's going to be a lot of these.
Like, what's the solution? What do you do in that case? It just doesn't seem optimal. Those lawyers are going to need something to do before they get replaced by the humanoid robots.
The Trojan horse in your AI, how a nearly ubiquitous Python file might be a secret hacker. The LiteLLM supply chain attack is a digital house fire that starts in the basement. Most people don't use LiteLLM directly, but the apps they rely on for banking, healthcare, or productivity often do. By poisoning this single piece of code, the Team PCP hackers turned a trusted bridge into a silent data siphon. When developers updated their systems, the compromised library began stealing sensitive API keys and environment variables. This is how secure apps suddenly leak private data or lose control of their AI features. It proves that even if your password is strong, a single corrupted building block in the software supply chain can compromise your digital life.
You haven't made this scary enough.
No.
This is petrifying.
Oh, sure.
As a lifelong software developer, I read this story and I was like, oh man, my first reaction was, I'm surprised it's taken this long for there to be something this bad that's happened. We've seen these before. This is not the first time.
Sure.
Effectively, to try to simplify it, there is a package that is used by many pieces of software that helps integrate your interface to LLMs. So it's for developers. No consumer would ever use this package.
They do. They're using it. They just don't know that.
You would never use it directly.
Yeah.
You would never go out. No consumer would go out and use this package directly. You would use software that uses something that uses this. And that's the way that it's been implemented. So even from a developer perspective, many developers were not using this package directly. They were using some other thing that then had this behind it. And that's the trust chain that got broken. The way it was done was pretty amazing. I mean, this package, by the way, normally gets about 95 million downloads per month.
Yeah.
It is one of the more popular packages.
It's used by everybody.
Yeah. And again, it's open source, like everything's open. This isn't a closed thing. This is something that we should have been able to see. What happened was mildly fascinating. It appears they got, the hackers got control of one of the developers' machines, grabbed their keys, and then slowly injected themselves into different parts of the chain.
Sure.
They didn't actually change the source code from what I understand. They just injected a binary that had this bad payload in it into the build stream, which is really insane. And what it searched for and what it stole was exactly what you said. All of your keys, your API keys, your environment variables, crypto wallets. It would just, I mean, it was actually somewhat trivial when you look at the code where it was just going through your machine, trying to pull all these well-known files off a developer's machine. Is really the intent.
Right.
This was for the developer. And the part that's even more nuts to me is that you did not have to instantiate the code for this to happen. Just the update of the code was enough for it to run this payload. So you just running an update was enough to trigger this. That is really not good. Not just from the people who are at risk, the developers who are at risk, but like now you have to rotate all of those keys.
Yeah.
If you were exposed to this, that's a lot of time.
Right.
It's like a lot of effort that just got sucked out of the system. Unfortunately, I suspect there are going to be more of these. I don't know what the fix for this particular problem is going to be, because even if you had a trusted signature, that would not have worked here. You'd have to have shared trusted signature maybe across multiple machines, but now you just need to compromise multiple machines. Like, it's a cat and mouse game that's going to continue.
You're going to have an AI agent that you send to go look at the code before you update.
That's the bit. Yeah.
And you're going to say, check and make sure it doesn't do blah, 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 blah. And that list is going to get enormously long as more of this cat and mouse game plays out.
Well, until somebody just injects into your AI check, linter.
Yeah, it's possible.
Again, cat and mouse game. But
how fast did they catch it? How long was this out in the wild before somebody went, wait a minute?
If I understand correctly, the way we caught it, we as a community caught it, was because someone's machine, the software was taking too long.
This is the thing. That was the Microsoft guy who discovered the SSH flaw in Linux. And it was like his machine took literally a half second. He noticed it seemed to take an extra half second to do something that he'd done many, many times. And he went, something's wrong here.
Yeah. In that case, that dude was insanely meticulous.
Yeah.
And that's why we caught it. Like, if that human didn't exist in that time at that place, that thing would probably still be deployed.
Nah, somebody would have caught it. People notice those things.
Sure, but that one was hard.
Especially in the developer community, you care about a half second.
This one was not nearly that tight, but people saw, I think what they saw, CPU usage spike, and they're like, well, why is that happening here? This shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
And they dug in and they're like, what is this payload? And they're like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
And the payload was injected, again, it wasn't in source code. It was injected as, I think it was like 2 base 64 encoded strings that then executed some code. So it was like, kind of hidden, not well, but sort of hidden in the payload that was in there. But it just bananas. Like, it shows how at risk we still are in this lovely global community of software that we have. There's still real risk in there, which is kind of a bummer.
There is risk, but both the Microsoft guy who discovered the extra half second and whoever figured this out, both of them, I'm impressed at how quickly we came across, there's problems here.
It does work. So part of the guidance on this that I struggle endorsing, but I think you sort of have to endorse, is to pin all your versions and only upgrade your versions of your libraries on a one-by-one basis. That's a lot of time to go into each one.
Yeah.
I think the advantage of pinning, and I think you're going to see, I think you're likely going to see the software adopt this, is just don't don't automatically update to the latest. I think you're going to want some like...
But somebody has to. Somebody has
That's
to
what I mean.
figure out
You're going to have...
this works, this doesn't.
Yes. I think that's the future, because right now, most package managers, the way they work is you can either pin to a version or use the latest.
Yeah.
That's basically it. Maybe you can put in a cap and say, don't go past this minor version or whatever. But that's it. There's no concept of tiers of acceptability. That might be the next thing we have to introduce, is where you say, hey, you're going to be on it's not the release candidate list, but it's like, I'm going to audition this set of packages and use them. And then once it's done, I as part of the community, 1,000 of us will confirm that it's good, and then the masses can take it. Something like that. And as developers, we might need to say, okay, I'm going to take on these 5. Yes. These are just going to be the 5 that I'm going to confirm. And if enough developers do that on different packages, you could get there. As long as we've got a good internet connection, everything will be fine.
U.S. blacklists all new foreign consumer routers.
Oh, come on, man.
The U.S. government is pulling the plug on foreign-made routers. In a sweeping national security move, the FCC has banned the import of new consumer-grade routers manufactured abroad, citing unacceptable risks. Officials warn that these devices provide backdoors for state-sponsored hackers. Foreign-made hardware was directly implicated in the Volt Typhoon and the Salt Typhoon cyber attacks, which targeted American power, water, and communications. According to the FCC's official national security determination this month, consumer-grade hardware was directly implicated in the Volt Typhoon, Salt Typhoon, and Flax Typhoon cyber attacks. Do we believe anything this FCC says?
Well, okay.
They don't have a great track record of credibility. The ban is a massive shock to the tech industry, as nearly all consumer routers are currently designed or assembled overseas. While your current home router remains legal, future models must be American-made or pass rigorous security vetting by the Pentagon. It's a bold, high-stakes play to resecure the digital supply chain and bring high-tech manufacturing back to U.S. soil.
This is somewhat fascinating.
Yeah.
The typhoons that you mentioned there, why we only name things with typhoons is beyond me. But it kind of makes sense, because those were all botnets from consumer-grade and Soho-grade gear.
But then you just switch your botnet over to a different type of gear. Are you going to ban all foreign electronics, period? I mean, you're going to be... Anything that connects to the internet can become a botnet if you have a sinister manufacturer.
First, let's talk about the ban that was put in place. They literally banned all foreign-made
consumer-grade gear
routers for consumers, only for consumer-grade gear, which is literally all of them.
They're still allowed to be part of the botnet.
This is only new devices. Devices that were previously approved, which basically means anything that got an FCC stamp, they're still allowed to be part of the botnet. Yeah. Those are okay. But going forward, if you have a new device that you want to sell in the US, you have to get the FCC's clearance on it.
Right.
I looked at what the vetting is, and it actually, to be honest, doesn't seem like it's enough. It seems like it's a little bit. You got to show ownership. You got to show who owns the whole like custody chain of the ownership of the corporation.
Right.
That's good. I actually think that's a good start, and that's something we should probably have.
You do?
So I like that. But I didn't see anything about code audits or any sort of code escrow. There's nothing on those ends. And what I would have liked to have seen is a solution, an alternate solution put in place. This could have been a great time for us to just buy or push manufacturers to sell multi-NIC, basically dumb computers, simple interfaces, and then use open source software, right? pfSense is open source and is lovely. Let's just move to that.
There are so many great open source solutions. This should not be a problem in 2026.
You could buy a $50 multi-NIC device from Best Buy and have the Geek Squad kids flash it in 15 minutes for $30 and have a great solution. That's open source and more secure than anything we're going to get out of this. Like, that should be the path. The path should be that. Consumers just don't care. So you're going to have to force it upon them. I don't see consumers caring about this.
We'll do our part. We'll put the link in the show notes to the pfSense router. This is a router you want. This is a router that is running open source software. Do the world a favor. Get the pfSense router next time you need a router.
And it's turnkey. Like, again, you don't have to
you don't have to do anything.
Be monkeying around with SSH. You just install this thing out of the box and away you go.
Okay, enough with the headlines. In fact, enough with the episode. We have to get out of here. Special thanks to our floor director, Jack Little.
Thanks, Jack.
We'll be back later this week with our big story. More Morks, fewer Mindys. Where are all the aliens? Until then, thank you for listening to all this nonsense. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm CJ Little.
Nanu Nanu.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say Nanu Nanu. You said Nanu Nanu. What do I say?
Schalzbot.
With Sony's Betamax SL8600 video recorder, you can see any TV show you want, Jeff, anytime you want to see it.
I love that.
The Betamax, which plugs into any TV set and is easy to operate, can videotape a show for up to 3 hours long.
Whoa.
Using the L750 video cassettes. I know, you're excited, aren't you?
Get out.
By setting the easy-to-use electronic timer, the Betamax works while you're doing something else, even while you're out of the house.
Whoa.
It can also videotape something off of one channel while you're watching something on another channel.
This is sorcery.
It's like we live in the future. And remember, Sony has more experience in video recorders than anyone.
Crazy.
Over 20 years of videotape experience. In fact, Sony sold more video recorders to broadcasters and industry than any other consumer manufacturer.
Absolutely.
They even make their own tape. They
do.
So for years, you've watched TV shows at the times you've had to. Now, you can watch them at the times you want to.
It's about time.
It's a total game changer. The Sony Betamax SL8600. $5,200 at an electronics retailer near you.
Please tell me you have adjusted that price
I've
for
adjusted
current
that price.
dollars.
That is current price. I'm always going to give you these numbers in
Okay.
current price. $5,200 to put a TV show onto videotape.
Wow.
Now, I know you know the Betamax story. I kind of picked this one kind of sort of on purpose.
Yeah, sure.
And I suspect, I know you're going to be in the ballpark.
Sure.
But there's a couple tidbits about this thing that are really interesting. I want you to guess the year first, and then I want to tell you some of the interesting tidbits.
That's hard. Let me see. I wasn't even driving, and our friends, my friend Kurt's family got a Beta machine.
Okay.
So my guess has to be maybe 1978.
Oh, you're very, very, very close. Let me give you some hints. The top single of the year was My Sharona from the Knack. Does that help any?
Okay. No, but I've met Sharona.
Also in the top, oh, that's cool. Also in the top 10 were two singles from Donna Summer, one from Rod Stewart, Gloria Gaynor, and the Village People. Does that help any?
No.
1979.
Oh, wow. That was close. That was
Now,
close.
this was the first Betamax with a built-in digital clock.
Yeah.
It had a wired pause control, which I find hysterical. The biggest problem with it, though, from a product perspective, was that it handled the new, what they called the X2 speed.
Yeah,
it was
sure,
like the,
sure.
the faster...
Slower.
I'm sorry, the slower record speed at less resolution.
Right.
The Betamax had better quality than the VHS, the competitor at the time, but only
But the
60-minute
VHS
tapes.
could record longer.
Yeah.
Right.
So they did this slower. So they dropped lines of resolution to get a longer tape, which basically negated any sort of technical improvement value that it had over the VHS.
Picture quality advantage. Yeah.
But I didn't know this. This 8600 apparently could not play previous Beta 1 tapes.
wasn't backward compatible. Wow.
So it just sort of existed in its own little universe.
Oh, that's terrible.
So that kind of blew my mind, but this is the thing that really blew my mind. Despite losing the format war, Sony continued to make Betamax recorders until August of 2002.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And they sold blank beta cassettes until March of 2016, which was really the end of its sort of commercial lifespan.
Yeah.
And this thing, I'll put a link in the show notes. I loved when electronics looked like a piece of furniture. And this was still
huge.
It had like wood siding on it or whatever, probably
yeah.
a sticker, like sort of like the Atari flashback at the time.
Kurt's family's had wood siding on
This thing was massive.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember that.
$1,150 in 1979,
Wow.
which is about $5,200 today.
Yeah.
Just to think about that from a television perspective, like you had your TV and then you had this thing so that you could record television. Like that was your entertainment destination.
Sure.
The Sony Betamax SL8600, 1979. Love it.